The news is super scary these days, but I feel like the mainstream media is a significant part of the problem. Like if you start looking at the actual stories of things that have happened in Southern California, like the focus should be on libraries that got raided with kids taken away from parents, schools where the kids are worried about their graduations because they're detaining people at schools. There's even reports of them coming in and taking kids out of foster homes, which all seems like sort of the worst things in the world. But instead, like, I can just take a look at some of the papers. Like, what's the headline on CNN? Newsom confronts Trump with a potential blueprint for Democrats. Like, their entire spin isn't bad things are happening, but what are the implications of this for, like, our political system? Which, like, who cares? Like, yes, that could help resolve the problem, but, like, why not focus on the actual stuff that's happening? The New York Times, Senate Republicans want to trim some of Trump's populist tax cuts. There's nothing on the front page of their website now about attacks on immigrants, and there's actually not even that much about what's happening in LA. The Los Angeles Times is a lot better. 330 immigrants detained in Central and South California, bashes ongoing raids. Beleaguered LA immigrant advocates are now threatened with federal probes, which is like really worrying that like immigrant advocates are being targeted. But that is the LA paper, and it does have a pretty conservative bias because of its owner, but stuff's sort of breaking through about what's really happening. The Washington Post is not great. ICE sets quotas to deliver an immigration crackdown on employers, so it's sort of capturing that they're going after just random people. But there's not much about, the military being in the streets and the fact that we're sort of heading for this martial law dictatorship with a giant military parade. Like the actual scale of the dangers that face us from what's happening right now are completely lost in it. I think the BBC is, if anything, a little bit better, who has been arrested by ICE under Trump. It focuses on the fact that like there's kids and innocent people. Also, Calm returns to Los Angeles after hundreds arrested, which also focuses on that like Trump is sending the Marines in to a city where calm is returned because he's trying to establish a dictatorship and military presence in the U.S. streets and the use of the U.S. military as a domestic police force to protect things like his birthday parade, right? Like he's having a giant military parade with tanks on his birthday, which is pretty ridiculous. I don't know, if you sort of dig into individual stories, you can sort of find the extent of like actual things like Los Angeles families for ICE raids at school graduations. That is from USA Today. Cincinnati high school graduate faces deportation after routine ICE check-in. So like they actually followed the law and did a check-in, and now some kid in high school is getting deported. Detroit high school student detained by ICE after a traffic stop during a field trip. I mean, like these are all over the country and awful, awful things. One empty chair is a Bologna high school graduate student still in ICE custody. Our hearts are with him. And I think that's in Connecticut. I don't know. It's just like ICE sparks uproar after storming child's birthday, believing it was dangerous gang assembly, which I doubt they assumed, but they stormed a kid's birthday party and probably permanently traumatized the kids. But it feels like the media focuses on like, what are the protest tactics? What are the implications on Democrats and Republicans, rather than like Trump like is clearly trying to establish a military dictatorship. And like it's kind of left out as like a background thing. Like, oh, well, do we agree or disagree with this thing? Like as if it's normal politics and not like a president saying you can't protest my birthday parade even though there's no laws against it, or I'm going to kill you, which is basically what he's saying. So I don't know. It feels like the world is heading for a really bad place. And a lot of the blame is those, that percent of the population that will support Trump doing anything, like including using the military as a domestic police force. But like just as equally to blame are those sort of centrists who like used to complain about like Trump's travel ban during his first term, but are now completely quiet and treating it like business as usual. So like in a lot of ways, like the heads of Google, the heads of Amazon are really much more to blame than the right-wing people who are just openly racist the entire time. I don't know. It's like, what can we do to like stop things? Because I don't think protests are enough. Like you got to get civil society to actually shut things down. But how do you get through to people who have stuff to lose? Because like individually, yeah, you have a lot to lose, but like we're all going to lose unless someone does something. So I don't know. Someone's got to do something.